Welcome back to Kaleidoscope. From hairstylist to metal art, Andie Pivetta had a career change. She enjoys working with her hands, creating things both decorative and functional. Her story, though, and skill is something you don't see many women doing, but what she does certainly sets her apart.
I used to be a hairstylist, and I decided that I wanted to pursue more trade work and learn something a little outside of the box. One day I just picked up a welder that my friend had and I started messing around with it, and I was like, this is really cool. I want to do this. I want to go to school for this. I want to learn more about this. So shortly after, I enrolled in a tech school and I just went for it. Working with molten metal is just so cool to me. There's so many different avenues that you can go with the welding field in the industry, and I just wanted to learn all of it. At first, I just wanted to work in a shop, which I did. I did that for a long time, and I decided there's even more I could keep exploring, and I enjoyed doing this on the side at home. So it kind of led me to find a career that instead gives me some more flexibility to be able to do this out of my home and kind of just be my own boss. This is my domain, and I can have inspiration and just roll with it and create things and upcycle materials that people are just letting collect dust and get rusty, and I hunt for those things, which is half the fun in itself. So I bring it here and I just make something cool out of it. So the first thing I ever welded years ago was just for fun, and I made a little man out of silverware, and he was just like standing like this, and he was holding a sponge for the sink. And I'm like, this is something so simple, but like kind of neat because you don't see that stuff every day. I just started from there. I started getting inspiration from all of my surroundings. I'm very outdoorsy, and I love living in Pennsylvania, and there's just so much inspiration I get literally just from my backyard, like in the woods. And I started making like spider webs and butterflies or other little creatures and like things that I really like that I'm like, maybe other people will like this. But I also enjoy making functional items that have more of an artistic flair to them in my style. So I make rocket stoves, which are portable, high-efficient stoves with a cooktop. You don't need any propane. They just burn really hot for hours because of the way they're designed, just from using kindling or sticks and twigs. Some of my favorite decorative items are probably anything with spider webs. I make a lot of plant stands, which are functional and decorative, so I do a lot of spider webs. I do a lot of flowers. I upcycle hardware like old nuts and bolts and screws, and I just make flowers out of them and just incorporate that into my design. Well, I started posting pictures of my work on Instagram. People really loved it, and people started asking me if I sold them, and I was like, no, and they were like, well, I really want to buy one off of you, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's just a fun project for me. It was a hobby, and before I knew it, it kind of just became a business, and people really liked my things, and I really appreciated that. I do have a storefront in Tionesta at Market Village. It's a one-of-a-kind, great little space for crafters, different vendors. I knew that when I moved to Tionesta, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I really hope that that's me one day in there. I want one of those little stores so bad. And I got it, and I've been rolling with it, and it's been great. It's a great experience, great exposure. It's such a cool little town. We get a lot of people from out of town, so it's really nice. Sometimes I spend 30 minutes, sometimes I spend days and days. It just depends. The rocket stoves, it takes me a couple hours to do that. It used to take me a lot longer, but obviously I've learned over time, you know, you set up a jig and then you get a bunch of them ready to go and you just bust them out. So my pieces that are unique and one of a kind, and I might only make one or two, those take me a lot longer because there is a process. I have to find the right material, I gotta clean it, I have to cut everything, fit it, you know, how I want it to look. Sometimes I draw like the design of how I want it to look. and then I just start welding and I put it together, and if I don't like something, I cut that piece off and start over, and sometimes it just flows pretty naturally, and sometimes I work on something for a week. A 5-year plan would be to start incorporating other processes of welding. I would love to incorporate more stainless steel and cleaner designs, cleaner materials, have that set up so I have more options, and I would love to get more into sculptures. Just sculptures of things related to the forest where I live. It just really makes me happy, and I think a lot of people around here like even just looking at stuff like that.